Yeah, we're recording. We're live.
Are you good to start the meeting, Heather?
We're live.
1 second. It's loading on YouTube,
Always waiting on Heather.
as it should be.
But not this one.
But it-
the other
All right, Chairman, you are all set.
Thank you. Welcome to the October 6th, 2021 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. At 7 o'clock, we're starting. I would like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. If we'll all stand. Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. So I'd like to start out and say, first of all, thank you for coming. Also, I want to mention that applications 2021-090 and 2021-091 have been for Rochester Regional have been moved to next month. So if anybody's here about that, just know that that will be delayed till next month. With that, I would also like to do roll call. So Robert Peckham, present. Beth Mossworth.
Here.
John Migliorini.
Here.
Christian Chamberlain is absent. Heather Robinson.
Here.
Dr. Jesse Redlow.
Here.
And Timothy Harrington.
Present.
Thank you, everybody. And he wasn't at the workshop either. Is that your point?
No.
Oh. Perfect. That makes sense. I'd like to take a minute to approve the minutes from last month. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of the September 1st, 2021 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting as presented.
Second, so motion by Dr. Redlow, seconded by John Migliorini. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And was I here?
No.
And I will abstain. So those pass. And now we're going to start with application 2021-085, Anthony Lambesi III.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, welcome. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Okay, this one. This is yours, John.
Can you give us a brief of what you're looking to do with the shed and what the needs for the shed is?
Sure. We just moved into the new Ryan Holmes track on Erie Station, East River Road. And we are wanting to put the shed in to give us the storage that we need. We have 4 kids, and between that and toys and lawn equipment and all that stuff, we could really use the space back there.
You're gonna put the shed on a pad or crushed stone?
Yep, it's going to be on a crushed stone pad.
Any electricity running out to it?
No,
Is it going to be a single story or is it going to be 2 stories or how tall?
it's going to be, the plan would be for it to be a 12 by 14 single story A-frame shed. It would be an Amish built shed, matches the house, siding, shutter color, so it looks the part as well.
Okay. Now the 12 by 14 size, is that going to suit all your needs?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions.
Are there any other questions from members of the board?
No.
Are there any questions or concerns or comments from members of the audience regarding this application? Heather, is there anyone that you're seeing online asking anything?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, with that, I look for a motion to close this.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to application ZBA 2021-085 for an area variance, I move to approve. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held public hearings, has considered all relevant information, and has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of facts. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the characteristic of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The variance can be achieved by some other feasible alternative, cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. The shed will be in the backyard. The variance requested is not substantial. The variance will not have a negative effect on the physical or environmental conditions. The difficulty related to the variance was self-created. Applicant needs more storage space, and that's why he needs the shed in the back. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approves the variance as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Redlow. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear application 2021-086. I'm going to say this, I hope I get it right. Tech. How do I say the last name? Acharya. Welcome. Please step up to the microphone. State your name and address for the record, and then we'll ask you questions.
Tech Acharya, 32 Planters Row, West Henrietta, 14586.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Acharya, in your application, so is there going to be any electric going to the shed?
No,
Okay, and 1 story or 2 story?
1 story.
1 story. Okay, that's all for me.
Is the general purpose of this for what?
I have, like the other gentleman said, we are on the same street apparently. So I have 2 kids, plus I have my parents living with me. We have our own stops, and my parents, they have their own stops, including lawnmower, snow blower, and other, gardening tools and, other stuffs like that. So right now my garage is kind of completely jammed, so I need bigger space out there. So 120 square foot is, I guess, is going to meet my, expectation. Actually, I was going to apply for 140, but I thought that it's going to be too significant request.
Thank you for paying attention to that. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions from members of the board? Are there any questions, concerns, or comments from members of the audience? No? Heather, are you good there?
Still nothing.
Thank you. With that, we close the application.
All right, Mr. Chairman, with regard to application number ZBA 2021-086 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has 1, duly advertised and held a public hearing, 2, has considered all relevant information, and 3, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, as nearby properties have sheds of similar sizes. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative, as other options do not meet the needs of the applicant. The variance requested is not substantial. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. The difficulty relating to the variance was self-created, but has been adequately justified by the applicant. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approves the variance as presented.
I'll second.
Seconded by Heather Robinson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
So I'm done, right?
Yep,
You're
all
done.
set.
You'll get a letter in the mail with all the approvals.
Happy shedding.
Happy shadowing.
That's the thing.
Next, we will hear application 2021-087, John Simmons at 36 Bladen Loop. Mr. Simmons, please state your name and address clearly for the record.
John Simmons, 36 Bladen Loop.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So there are a couple of questions. They sound very similar. Any electric to the shed?
No,
1 story, 2 story, story and a half?
a single story.
You have a note on your application in regards to self-created difficulty, and if you could touch on, you wrote, the difficulty was not self-created, it was caused by a discrepancy of site survey. So help explain what that means.
That's correct. So I bought my house, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. And when you buy the house, you get a survey map drawn up. And the survey map said 180 by 100 feet lot, which equates to 180 square foot shed. So. And then when I applied, they denied it and said, no, your lot is only this big.
Did you have to get your lot resurveyed or did,
I didn't get it resurveyed, no. I just trusted the town had the right documents and that the guy that did the survey for the house was wrong.
so when you submitted the site survey, you could see the one that you submitted from, looks like it was done in 2013. Says that it's 90 by 180.
That one I think is when Berkshire Park built the houses. I think it was the,
Did you have the house surveyed when you purchased it?
when I purchased it, yeah, I purchased it used. So it was a couple
Right,
years
but
used.
did you have a survey done as part of your purchase?
Correct,
For you to think that it was 100 by 180?
correct.
Okay. So there's a potential there that the person who did your survey owes you money.
There's a potential, but good luck getting it.
Right, okay. So that's where the discrepancy runs. into.
That's where the discrepancy is, yes,
And the size of the shed will meet your needs? then I'm
Yes.
Assuming,
at 180 square foot, yes.
so it's all I had for question.
Did you say what the purpose of the shed was gonna be for?
It's for storing lawnmower, kids' power wheels, all that stuff. I can't even walk through my garage now.
Okay, now you have the concrete pad, that's gonna be next to the shed. Do you plan on putting, like an awning or overhang?
There'd be an overhang there, yeah. There's a little extension of that concrete pad, yes.
Okay,
What's the use of that? Is that just,
Just to sit under, you know, I got the pool there, so little shade.
does it go up against the pool?
No.
Is that your intent? Okay.
No, it's not up against the pool. It's off, I don't know, 20, 30 feet, whatever it is.
Okay. Are there any other questions from members of the board? Any questions from members of the audience? No, or any on virtual? Okay, with that, we can close this application.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to application ZBA 2021-087 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has 1, duly advertised and held a public hearing, 2, has considered all relevant information, and 3, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. Many homes in the same area have storage sheds. Variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative to meet storage needs. The size of the shed is best matched that need. The variance is not substantial. The request is for 19 square foot larger. The variance will not create or will not have a negative effect on the physical or environmental condition. The difficulty relating to the variance was self-created, and be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
Second.
Seconded by John Miglerini. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good
Enjoy.
day. And we are relatively neighbors too. I can like see your house out of my window, so.
Happy shedding.
Have a
Happy
good,
shedding.
right. Have a good night. Next, we have 2021-088 Larry Wagner at 17 Macon Drive.
Correct. Members?
Welcome. Please state your name and address first for the record.
My name is Larry E. Wagner at 17 Macon Drive.
Thank you and welcome again.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner, can you explain why you need the shed?
Yes, for my storage of my equipment. My garage is not big enough to carry everything. And I already have a shed there, but I want to put a nicer one and one that doesn't leak.
Okay.
So this will be a replacement of the leaking shed.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and so you presented a picture to the board. Is that, so it's gonna be single story? Do you plan on putting any electricity to it?
No electric, and it's going to be built on gravel.
Okay. All right, I have
What
no-
size was your previous shed?
What size is it? It's probably 8 by 8 or something like
8 by 8,
that.
okay.
It's not very big at all.
You'll gain a lot from this one, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
What is the equipment that you plan to store in there?
Probably lawnmower, snow blower, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I have a little thing for bolts and where I keep my screws, bolts and nuts in there.
Perfect. Great. Any other questions from board members? No. Any questions from members of the audience? There's no one else here. Anybody virtually? Nope. Well, that makes it easy. So we can close this application. And it might be just a moment.
Thanks.
You can do what you need to make sure you're correct.
We're good. It just didn't save.
Uh,
So, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, with regard to application number ZBA 2021-088 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held a public hearing, has considered all relevant information and considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, as other homes in the area have sheds that are similar to what the applicant is asking. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. The variance requested is not substantial, as the relief the applicant is asking is only for an additional 5 square feet more than the code allows. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. The difficulty relating to the variance was self-created, as the applicant is asking for the variance to store his existing equipment that will replace deteriorating shed currently. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Beth Mossworth. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Now, sir, will I be able to get my permit so I can start building this?
You will get a letter from the town based, they'll probably send it out tomorrow. Heather on the screen is very efficient at this.
Okay,
And then you will still finish your building process through the town building department, where they will deal with the very specifics of the shed itself, but
Okay.
it should be approved, assuming it meets the requirements.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wish you.
Enjoy.
well.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Okay. It looks like we're all virtual from here on out. Now we have application 2021-089 Old Dominion Freight Line at 15 Transport Drive, Rochester, New York.
Yes, good evening. This is Dean Apostolaris. Is everyone able to hear me?
We are able to hear you, Dean.
Okay, great. I'm going to get my video on here. Just in the, give me 1 second.
There it comes.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I have a couple of materials to share with the board here on my screen, so I'll go ahead and do that now.
Thank you.
And please let me know once you're able to see this here.
We are able to see this.
Okay, great. And I do have the architect with me as well. Andy, are you on the line here?
Dean, I did not see him log in yet, just FYI.
Dean, you're flying solo.
Okay, I guess I'm flying solo here. Well, I hope I can speak to the application in as much detail as he planned to do, and I'll do my best to answer any of your questions here. So, first of all, good evening to the members of the board here. My name is Dean Apostolaris. I work with Kimley Horn as the civil engineer on this project. The architect on the
Good
project.
evening. This is Andy Donnelly. Can everyone hear me?
Oh, there's Andy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was on. I just had to hit the *6.
Okay, great. Great to hear you on the line, Andy. I was just giving the intro for myself here. So we'll go through. Yep, my name is Dean Apostolaris. I'm with Kimley Horn. I'm here today representing the application for 15 Transport Drive on behalf of Old Dominion Freight Line. The proposed project here is to expand an existing dock on the property here, and I will turn it over to Andy to give an introduction as well as continue with the remainder of the presentation here.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Andy Donnelly. I'm an architect with David Mollenkoff Architects in Nashville, Tennessee. We are designing this expansion for Old Dominion as a cross-dock warehouse. A cross-dock warehouse is a little bit different than other warehouses where this kind of function, you don't just kind of bring everything into the warehouse, let it sit for a long time, and then, another warehouse or picks, a trailer or forklift picks it up later on and shuffles it out. This is a constantly moving warehouse of goods and pallets, all different kinds of things that can go on semi-trailers. So part of our expansion of this is we had to continue the architecture, continue the function of this warehouse layout. And that included, if you look at the site plan, you can see all kind of trailer spots around the site and trailer spots around the existing and the proposed new addition. And that circulation inside and outside is what this makes this kind of facility works. So if we didn't have, the doors on the front like they have on the existing and doors all around, it really wouldn't function as it's intended to function. If we looked at other scenarios similar to this, say, take this dock and turn it in a dog leg towards the back of the site, it would cut off the back circulation, the back lane on the south side of the site, and you would not be able to circulate around the site as it's intended to. But you'd also, with the doors being 90 degrees to each other, you'd also cut it off. So we looked at various options for this site, and really the only one that would truly work is to keep the doors on unfortunately, the front elevation where they are now. Currently, there are 22 doors on the building, and 8 of those are in the front, and we're going to add, I think about 10 more on the front. And so that's the variance we're asking for, is to keep the architecture and keep the doors as they are on the right-hand side, which is the northwest, and add onto the same doors onto the northeast elevation. Currently, we're not planning on doing anything with the office that's on the north elevation. That's existing. We're going to keep it as it is. The new roof of the building is going to match the existing dock roof, so the architecture is going to pretty much be the same. So if you take a look at the rendering that we did, that's kind of taken from the northeast corner of the site, looking at the proposed new addition. You can kind of see the architecture kind of reflects all along the main road, the same as it was.
You're also doing.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. You're also making a bunch of changes to the parking area, as you mentioned. Does that fulfill your needs space-wise, the removing some of that potential lawn that's there, I guess? Does that give you enough room to maneuver around and things of that nature?
Yes, we have computer programs that act as like driving a car or driving a truck, and they can pull the back wheels, as they come around the site. So we have different programs that have different kind of vehicles, and we've narrowed it down that they can traverse around all of this site as we've got it planned out.
Surprising, looks tight.
It does look tight, but you look at those. How long are the spaces in your, it's not on the drawings that you're showing here, but they were clearly submitted for the application. How long are the spaces that back up to each dock?
They're typically 55 feet.
That's correct, 55 feet and 12 feet wide.
That's a lot of space between the end of the building and those things.
Yeah, because the standard trailer is 53 foot.
Yep. Okay. Are there any questions for any of the board members?
I have none.
It-
I do have actually, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. So I know you guys are doing the addition currently. Do you guys anticipate this being maybe the only addition?
Yes, this will be the only addition. There's, like you said, the site is very tight, and there's absolutely no room after this to expand anymore with parking or with the building whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
So no more questions from the board. Are there any questions, Heather, virtually?
Nope.
Thank you. With that, I think we can close this application.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, with regard to application number ZBA 2021-089 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has, 1, duly advertised and held a public hearing, 2, has considered all relevant information, and 3, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, as the neighborhood is industrial with nearby properties with similar business operations. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative, as other options would be less efficient. The variance requested is substantial, but has been adequately justified by the applicant. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. Difficulty relating to the variance was self-created. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approves the variance as presented.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Harrington. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your help. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
have a good night.
Good evening.
And just a little side note, Mr. Harrington, was that your first time that you said? Okay. One of the few.
Everyone else is just so fast.
Yeah. So next we have application 2021-092 for CHS Mobile Integrated Healthcare at 280 Calkins Road.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
We hear you.
Hi, so my name's Joshua Saxton. I'm a civil engineer at Pastor Associates, representing the design engineer, as well as the client CHS, basically representing this project today. I'm gonna share my screen. Hopefully it works. I'm not seeing share screen option on the, oh, there it is.
Should be in the lower there. Yep.
Yep, I got it. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So let me just extend this out a little bit. So as stated, this is a expansion onto the existing CHS facility located just down the road from where you guys are now on Calkins, 280 Calkins. As stated in the application, and as you can see in this screen, currently it is 2 lots. We're going through an administrative subdivision now to combine these lots since CHS owns both. So in the end, when this project is completed, it'll be 1 lot. So as stated, it's in the front area of the building. It was needed in that area because of the lack of space, as you can see kind of in this aerial. You know, the VA is right to the west, so that's taken a lot of development room. There's already existing parking and stormwater management in the back to the north. So really the only area that this building could expand would be to the south. Just a couple other, I guess, facts about CHS, just how they serve the community. It's a facility that gets, 10,000 calls about medical emergencies in Henrietta and surrounding municipalities. They have 20 vehicles currently and over 100 employees. So if you can imagine, 10,000 calls, only 20 vehicles on the site. The need for more vehicles is definitely needed, especially as Henrietta grows. The unfortunate need of, increased medical response, something that happens as, a town gets bigger. So that's essentially the requirement and the need for this expansion. I have a kind of layout of how it currently is set now. As you can see, it is essentially just an additional garage to store ambulances as well as other emergency vehicles. It will have one way through the garage with angled parking to make room for the vehicles. And here's just I guess a elevation rendering of the site. Similar colors and materials as before, so it's not going to be a sore thumb on the addition. It's going to be a continuation of what's currently there. So the reason for this meeting is the encroachment of the front setback, which is 60 feet. I believe in the application we are requesting 23. We have since moved the building back further. It is now 31 feet from the right of way. That was mainly after getting some additional record info because there's a sanitary sewer that runs along the southern property line. So wanted to give at least 10 feet away from that to avoid any conflicts with foundations to the sanitary sewer. So it's moved back further since then. We have looked into an option that does not encroach the setback. This is pretty much right at the 60 feet. It's a little small, but you can kind of see the outline in orange. And it essentially wrapped around the existing side of the building. So this was an option we looked at, but there's a couple reasons why it wasn't feasible. The main reason was removing some existing features of the building. There's a large 30-foot radio tower that's located in that area. And, moving that and changing the connections inside the building and rewiring everything was going to be, a great cost to CHS, and finding a location that, could integrate with the existing building was going to be difficult. So that was one of the main reasons. The other was some of these vehicles, as you can see, they're double parked. So these ambulances in the top right of the expansion wouldn't be able to get out. And the last thing we want is, for someone to get a call, they have to get out and someone else's ambulance is parked in front of their own and they can't get out without a delay. So that's also a major factor in why this concept isn't feasible for the site. And essentially, there's some additional needs inside the building. As you can see, it's kind of tight quarters here. The building would actually have to be expanded more than this, because as I'm sure you can imagine, opening the back doors of ambulances, cleaning them out and removing things from the ambulances takes some space as well. So this actually would be expanded more for the site. And the angled parking that we are currently showing creates a more efficient design for when the ambulances are coming into the garage. Essentially, they can back in and they won't have to worry about, nicking another car or, maybe a wall. Kind of creates a more efficient system for the expansion. I guess in addition to that, as you can see, there's a current entrance. It's an existing curb cut that was for a former single-family home. We're basically reusing that curb cut as a one-way entrance. So to kind of give you the flow of the site, cars would come into the expansion, park their vehicles, and then go and use the traffic light that's currently on the Calkins and Middle Road intersection. So it's pretty efficient design where it's pretty much in and out. They won't be using this to, turn out, which would create maybe some traffic concerns. Another, I guess, traffic concern that we looked at was the sight distance at this intersection. Cars turning out of the VA or CHS, we wanted to make sure that wasn't impeding the sight distance. And it is, as presented, currently far enough back where if someone is turning, they have ample room to look down eastward on Calkins. And there's also some existing dense vegetation located in the southeastern corner of the site that already kind of is farther up on Calkins Road than the building. So if anything, those trees would impact. But currently there isn't a sight distance issue at the intersection, and this building won't cause any further sight distance issue. We are proposing additional trees in the southeastern corner as well, just as some additional screening. That was a comment received by the Conservation Board last night regarding this project. Just to kind of buffer it a little more, but as you are driving westbound on Calkins, you know, this dense vegetation right next to the railroad, it's pretty much shielded up until you get past the corner. So it won't be even though it is farther out towards the road, it won't be a distraction for drivers. And as far as existing, I guess, surroundings of the site, you know, as I stated previously, the VAs to the west, existing railroads, and you know, pretty dense forest is to the east. And to the south is an open lot to the southwest, and then a Rochester Regional Health facility, basically directly south of this property. So it's all surrounded by, you know, a medical, you know, kind of feel and use. So, you know, there isn't single family homes in this area that may be impacted by this addition. It's all kind of centered in this nucleus of medical use. So it won't have a detrimental impact to the surrounding area. And that's essentially all I had. You know, I think it's a good expansion. Obviously, the more we can help, you know, our community, you know, having more vehicles on the road to help in, you know, situations of crisis, the better. So open up to the board. If you guys have any questions or concerns, I'll be happy to answer.
So how many ambulances does this building currently support?
It's 20 vehicles, and some of those are stored in this back area. You can see it kind of almost creates a mirrored shape for this building with the addition. So this back area has storage vehicles, you know, ambulances, as well as some in the back, but it's 20 vehicles currently. So this would add, I believe, as far as ambulances go,
12.
Yeah, so some of these are, they're not full ambulances. They would be for other emergency vehicles, but it's current rendering showing 8 additional ambulances. So almost adding half of what is existing there. So it's definitely a big bump of what's currently there.
And this comes about because of more people in Henrietta or a larger service area?
It's mainly for what they currently serve, Henrietta, and as well as some other supported municipalities. So, and it's mainly just, you know, from the current need of, you know, Henrietta, as well as, like I said, the other municipalities.
And so the driveway that you have kind of coming off of Calkins Road here, that's only going to be in access?
Yeah, so it'll only be an inward to the garage. There won't be any ambulances going out. We've been in talks with the DOT about this since Calkins Road is a county road. So we've been in talks with them about, you know, they've adamantly said that if any cars or ambulances are to leave it, they're to use the light. And makes sense to me for, you know, traffic safety of not only, you know, ambulance drivers as well as the other drivers on the road.
The entrance to this is just going to be one drive-in door.
Yeah, it'll just be one overhead door. I'll show the side. So the south elevation, this will be the south. So this is that entrance off of Calkins. And then this is on the western side. So that's the side that will basically loop around and go to the light. So it's just one overhead door to get in and one overhead door to get out.
It's just one door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be 2 doors technically, one along Calkins Road and one along the existing drive aisle. So one located here for where the cars are going out, and then one going in here for where the cars are going in.
Can you put the other slide up with the ambulances in there?
Yeah.
See the-
Yes.
That's Calkins Road to the
Calkins
south.
Road,
Yeah, Calkins Road along. So this would be where they enter, park, and then as they leave, go here and then immediately to the left as they turn out, this is where the light will be.
Entrance is here and the exit is here
So you'll be able to drive into one and then drive out the other?
Yep.
only.
Yep. Yeah, so they won't be able to be, and kind of this is how the parking's set up is it'd be impossible for this ambulance to turn just based on the turn radius of an ambulance.
We'll have to back the ambulances in there though, right?
Yeah, so when they come in, they'll back into their spots and then when they leave, they'll just drive out and go.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, is there gonna be any, like, lifts or anything to, like, when the ambulances come back? Like, from their calls, is there gonna be like any, you know?
Oh, for like maintenance, things like,
Yeah,
you
just,
mean like a lift to lift it up to do maintenance, you mean, or?
no, just so that way, like, nobody, just like, if somebody's trying to come to this building and they Google it, they
Oh,
come,
they're not in the wrong spot.
they're not driving into the wrong
So
spot.
anything at the entrance, like a barrier.
Yeah, an entrance barrier.
Oh, for you mean over here, like a gate or something, you mean, along here? I don't think that's proposed, just because, you know, especially with ambulance going in, they want to get in as quick as possible.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
get that.
You're saying for concerns for the regular.
Regular
Yes, like someone's trying to get to the VA so they don't accidentally turn in. Well,
turn and.
yeah, I think we can propose some signage, maybe along this entrance. That says, you know, ambulance vehicles or emergency vehicles only, to deter anyone from accidentally turning in. Because last thing you want to do is turn on to here and during rush hour and try and get on the Calkins. I could see that being an issue. So definitely adding signage, something we can do for the plan.
Are you aware or was your firm part of the expansion that Brighton Ambulance did on Westfall and South Winton?
I do not believe so. At least I wasn't personally involved. I don't believe our firm was.
What did you identify the new offset to be? That you said it changed from 20.
It's 31 feet now from the right of way to the closest building corner.
So from 23 to 31 now.
Yep.
Okay. I think I'm gonna change that as a stipulation. Obviously, one of the things that we are interested in is the smallest variance possible.
Yeah.
So to us, I'm gonna make an adjustment to this to 31 feet unless we have objection to that. All right. Are there any other questions from members of the board?
No.
Heather, are there any questions or anything from people in the virtual audience?
I am not seeing anything. I do have one question for Josh. If you can send me these updated renderings, because I don't have these with the new setback.
Yep.
Please and thank you. All set, Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I got one comment. Josh, it's Kevin Wilson, Director of Building Fire Prevention.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Is
Good.
this a right in only, not a left turn in?
I believe it is, I believe it's not set now. I think just with it being so close to the intersection, it'd be difficult because I think the south on Middle Road, that road's right here, but I believe it's proposed to be both a right in and a left in.
Okay, well, but that'll probably come up more in planning board anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Want to get that out there. That'll be one of my comments for planning board, so.
Okay.
Do I need to make that as?
No.
Okay.
I just.
So with that, I'd like to close this application. So with regard to application ZBA 2021-092 for the area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held a public hearing, has considered all relevant information, and has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. This section of Calkins Road is all business, and this would have no negative impact on the neighbor. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. The growing need for the facility necessitates this change, and the lot limits the options. The variance required is substantial. The requested variance is large and is more than 50% of the offset requirement, but there is no other feasible option for this request. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. This variance is not expected to have any of those negative environmental conditions. The difficulty relating to the variance was not self-created. There is, the need is there for additional services and equipment, and that has created this need. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
Second.
Oh, hold on, I'm going to add more. And be it further resolved that this approval shall be subject to the following conditions. The offset will be limited to 31 feet as proposed by applicant during testimony.
Second.
Seconded by by Dr. Redlow. Mr. Doctor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you. Have a
Yeah.
good evening.
Quick hi to Jesse too. We went to high school together, so it's been a while since I've
Hey, good to
seen
see you.
him. Yeah.
We call him Dr. Jesse now.
Yeah.
Mr. Doctor. Thank you.
All right, have a
Yeah.
good one.
Yep, you too.
With that, I would like to close the meeting at 7:46. Ready to do it.